Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Metacast podcast. That is the podcast that explores itself, explores ourselves, and explores the self in general. My name is Ty. I am one of your co-hosts.
And I am your other co-host who desperately wants to be an ice ninja. Distance.
You are no longer Distance. You are Sub-Zero. Sorry, spoiler alert for my favorite line coming up later. Jeez, that was such a well-written line.
Fuck.
And tonight is, if you could not guess, the Metacast movie show about Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is a 1995 action fantasy movie directed by Paul Anderson and written by Kevin Droney. It's based on, of course, Mortal Kombat by Ed Boon and John Tobias.
Did you just say 1995?
Yeah, it came out in 95. Is there a different version?
There's a new one on HBO that came out.
There's a new. I'm sure it's the same thing. Let's just. It's got probably all the same shit in it. We can just. We can still do this. We'll be all right.
I can retype my notes.
Yeah. You've seen the old one, right?
Yeah. It's been a decade.
Mortal Kombat is a 2021 fantasy action film directed by Simon McQuoid, screenplay by Greg Russo and Dave Callahan, and story by Oren Uziel and Greg Russo. Of course, based on Mortal Kombat by Ed Boon and John Tobias.
It stars Louis Tan, Jessa McNamee, Josh Lawson, and Mikad Brooks.
With a budget of around $55 million, this had a box office take of $51.1 million.
With a tomato meter rating of 55% and an audience score of 87%.
So, based on the video game franchise of the same name, this 2021 film serves as a reboot to the Mortal Kombat film series. After the flop of the 1997 Mortal Kombat Annihilation, it was not clear if there was ever going to be another Mortal Kombat movie. There was a third one in the works for a long time that ended up in development hell. And following the rather positive response to Kevin Tancharon's short film, Mortal Kombat Rebirth, Warner Brothers found a renewed interest in the product, and now we ended up with this. So, my initial thoughts are, this honestly is good for what it is. If you go in expecting an Oscar winner with an amazing script, with, performances that are going to blow you out of the water, you're more than likely going to be disappointed. But if you go in expecting a fun, martial arts action movie, I think you're going to probably enjoy what you see. I recognize that most video game movies are just fucking horrible. And with that being said, this is one of the best ones I have ever seen. That is, but it's by no means perfect, but it definitely exceeded the expectations that I had going into it. So if I was going to give this any sort of verdict, my main belief, I guess, is that there are not enough good video game movies. I think it's unfortunate because I love video games and I love movies. So those two, scissoring, is good stuff. I shouldn't have said that. So I do think that more video game movies like this should be made. I think this is a step in the right direction. So I am going to give this a yes, just simply because I enjoyed it, but also I feel like the success of this could cause more studios to want to put money towards projects like this, and we could just end up with better video game movies. What about you?
Oh, yeah. It's interesting because there's only... it's weird because of video game movies, I've seen movies that had good actors in them that it was a shitty script. There was a Halo movie with a good actor in it. It's the guy from the Luke Cage series. I forget his name. Yeah. There's over the years have been lots of really floppy types of films. Like the Sonic the Hedgehog one was god awful.
What?
Really?
I thought next week we'll be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. But yeah, we should do an episode on that one if you want. That would be a fun one to not. They're just not good. They don't do well. The thing for me is, thanks, Paul. Interesting. Sorry. Where am I going with this? Oh yeah. So for me, the problem I have is that, and this is something that like I've heard Ty talk about, is like, the question is, should you watch? And for me, this is a special interest movie. So if you are watching our podcast or listening to our podcast because you like good movies, if you want to see like an excellent action film, this really isn't it. I mean, my answer has a couple conditions. So if you like grew up on the Mortal Kombat games and you watched the original movie, which was absolute garbage, but when you were like 9 years old, it was great. Then yeah, watch this. Like this is definitely something that you need to watch. If you want to see a movie based on a video game that's not complete garbage, then yeah, watch this because it's actually pretty good for a video game film. But the thing is that since it requires you to be a member of kind of a special interest group to enjoy it, for this one, I just have to give it a no. Like I loved it and I really enjoyed it, but it's because of the sentiment. I remember the old movie being terrible. I grew up on the video games. I love the video games. These characters are all very near and dear to my heart. But if the question is, should you watch? If you're not a member of the same special interest group as me, and it isn't movie people, which for me, this is who the podcast is for. It's video game people that also like movies. If you're not a member of that group, the answer has to be no.
That's fair. I mean, that's very similar to what I said about Justice League. So I think that's a very fair criticism. How I guess the difference for me is I don't feel like superhero movies need more financial support. I do feel like video game movies need more financial support. So that's why I'm almost giving, like I said, I kind of gave it a yes simply because I want there to be more of it. But yeah, I think that's a very fair answer. Let's we definitely have to bring out Spoiler Terry, have him ruin this. So Spoiler Terry,
get over here.
Oh God.
That one's gonna be fun to edit. So I mean, the intro. It was pretty fucking cool. I liked where it started. I really like the humanization and the emotion to Hanzo or Scorpion. I love how they started with that and giving him like a reason for what he is and everything. Like it was much cooler than just having this like antagonistic character that he basically was in the 95 version. This is much more true to the actual lore of Mortal Kombat, which honestly, like for a game series that is mainly just two characters standing facing each other fighting, there is a really, really cool universe in the Mortal Kombat lore. Like there's a lot of cool shit that goes on there.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite fighting games, the Tekken series, that lore is garbage. Like it is terrible, in my opinion. But yeah, like this one really does have some pretty cool stuff. Like the whole idea of what's happening and why. It's cool that they came up with a background to it, because I feel like the game that predated this one was Street Fighter, and oh God, I mean that. Speaking of bad video game movies,
yeah.
Hey,
Jean-Claude Van Damme was so good in that. What do you mean? Yeah, I can't even say that with a straight face. Yeah.
I like Jean-Claude in only two movies and two movies only. And Street Fighter was definitely not one of them. Like I'm gagging right now thinking about that movie. It was garbage. Also, like I don't love the Street Fighter games either. Not because they're bad games. I'm just terrible at them.
All you have to do is pick Blanca and just sit there doing your electric field the entire time. They just jump into it over and over again. It's awesome.
Pick Chun-Li and do the yeah thing for like the rest of the match.
Which speaking of, while we're talking about it, I love the self-referential, like just doing the same move over and over again. How Liu Kang leg swept Kano like 4 times back to back. Like that was great.
Classic tactic in Mortal Kombat 2 is like, is that all you know? Like that shit, like I threw my head back and laughed. Like I cackled, and like laughing that hard when you're by yourself doesn't happen often when you're watching a movie. Usually it's like you have to be in a room full of people. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, like that, because a lot of the lore like of the movies just based on the games. So they already had material, which to me, like, I agree with you. I mean, it's pretty impressive that they
stayed especially rather true to it too. They didn't try to like, I mean, they changed some stuff, but they didn't try to go like off the wall and make things crazy. Like,
and if I'm honest, like I think the first like 7 to 9 minutes of this movie are like best parts. Because in my opinion, I think the only people in this movie that I thought or are, in my opinion, are particularly good actors, like that I am a fan of as actors outside of this film, were Hiroyuki Sanada, I'm gonna butcher his name, Tadanobu Asano, who plays Raiden.
Oh, okay.
And then Chin Han, of course. And I liked Joe Taslim a little bit as Sub-Zero.
Oh,
but
that was Bihan? Okay.
yeah, he necessarily overplayed the character, like you have to do that. And Chin Han's a brilliant actor, in my opinion. He's been on all kinds of great stuff. But once again, like you have to overdo like the sinister nature of these characters.
Yep.
There's supposed to be cheese. If there's not, then it's not really, it's not really like a video game movie. It has to be over the top. Like you have to have this impression of Shang Tsung, like he is just this vicious, dark thing that likes nothing more than like ripping people's essence from their bodies, Well,
and same as like we talked about, like the gore has to be over the top or it's not Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
Like it has to do that to fit. Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't really have, and I don't know if it was just the effects, because we can't really talk about this movie without talking about the old one, like the 95 original one. Like I think maybe it was just the visual effects that were holding them back, but they didn't have the kind of stuff like the gore that we saw in this movie. It was not on the same level. But I mean, like Total Recall came out way before the Mortal Kombat movie, and that gore was like,
it wasn't a technological. Well, hold on. Also, if I remember correctly, wasn't the 95 Mortal Kombat actually PG-13 to
you know what? I think it was.
I bet it was to try to appeal to that audience.
Yeah, because the other understanding is that the people that grew up on those games are our age now.
Exactly.
So
yes. Yep.
That would make sense. Yeah, because the audience. But I don't know if you recognize Hiroyuki Sanada was in the Wolverine film.
Yes. Yep.
And he was also in a movie that I feel like you've made fun of this movie before, but he was in The Last Samurai.
Oh, was he? Okay. It has been a long time since I've seen that, so I don't remember him in that.
He played the one guy that kept beating the shit out of Algren. Like the one that he kept like trying to learn how to use the katana, and he was the one that kept like beating his ass.
Okay.
And then like he was the one at the end of the movie when Algren walks out and the armor of the guy he killed in battle, which is nuts. He's the one that walks over and goes like, kind of does like straightens up his armor and like pats him on the arm, like, yeah, like warrior shit, but he did like a really good job in that movie. Like I just wish that like all the little like ninja scenes were the best. Yeah. Well, and that is I mean, it is definitely like, it is not just an action movie. It is also like a martial arts movie. There are enough like good fight choreography in this that like you could tell people definitely put in training and put in work. That it's not, like when you go see Taken and it's an out of breath Liam Neeson, cut 30 times jumping over a fence. Like no, this has some real action, real choreography in it. Yeah. I think Joe Taslim, I thought he started his career as a stuntman. I could see that. I would not be surprised. That he's more like, he does more like fight choreography than actual like that was more his thing than like the actual like acting side of film. Because I mean he does a really hold on. I might I was wait, do I have this backwards? No, I don't. Sorry, I was confusing myself. For some reason I thought I was getting him mixed up with Louis Tan. I'm not. Okay. But I just feel like the tone of the movie started out really good with the beginning sort of scene, and it reminded me of like the stuff like Hero starring Jet Li. Like it gave me that vibe of like Ong Bak with or at least the beginning of Ong Bak. With Tony Jaa. Yeah, like Tony Jaa. Got that sort of vibe from it. Yes. And however, though, like it just didn't. If it kept that vibe, it wouldn't have been Mortal Kombat, right? That's true. Like, and and I don't know, man. Like, I just have weird feelings about this movie, even though like I had a good time watching it. I don't know, man. it's all, now that you said what you said, like I'm realizing now that maybe I just wanted to be watching a different movie.
I mean, well, it is completely fair that, I mean, like you said, if you want to watch a great movie, this probably isn't it. But like, yeah, I mean, like if I forget who I was talking to. I was talking to my mom, but I even said like, if if I were to put this movie next to like Arrival or some other movie that I think is just a great piece of film, it's like, well, of course, it's just one is just objectively better in many ways. But it's like, I don't feel that that's a fair comparison a lot of the time. It's like I would compare this to other video game movies where it's like, yeah, I don't know if I've seen a better video game movie. There has been others that I've enjoyed. But yeah, as far as just like quality wise, I do think there was a lot that was actually just well done in this.
It's like, I forget what movie we were talking about, but we were talking about if somebody else had played the role. And I was like, well, Michael Fassbender could have done it. And you were like, seriously? Like, because I was like, oh, okay, just like offer like a super brilliant actor with massive range. And just, of course, like really?
Yeah.
Like, of course Fassbender would do it. With, by the way, speaking of casting, who, if they make a sequel, who do you think should play Johnny Cage?
Okay, well, what my honest opinion is, Johnny Cage should not even be in it. Doesn't need to be. Johnny Cage. What? Okay, Johnny Cage is the self-insert character. Johnny Cage is the whole reason he is there is so the person watching the movie can have some sort of avatar in the universe, and also he's the person that doesn't understand anything. So when it's explained to him, then the viewer also gets it. That was what Cole was in this movie. If you have that role filled, I don't understand a need for Johnny Cage. That's the whole point of Johnny Cage, is to be that character. So it really seemed super lackluster to me that was the big reveal at the end. Is like, oh, Mortal Kombat 2 will have Johnny Cage. It's like, all right, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like the character Noob Saibot would have been more interesting, but there's really no good way to foreshadow that.
Well, yeah, I thought they did foreshadow that. I mean, because the lore is like Bihan dies and comes back as Noob Saibot. So that's exactly what happened in this. He dies, and even when he dies,
is that what happens? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and even when he dies, his body is kind of taken and turns into black smoke. I thought that was foreshadowing that, and then the second later, the same thing happens to Goro's body. So it was like, okay, well, maybe that doesn't mean exactly what I thought it means. But yeah, that's the actual lore is that's why there's an elder Sub-Zero and his younger brother takes up the mantle. Scorpion kills elder Sub-Zero, who was Bihan. He comes back as Noob Saibot, and then younger Sub-Zero, who was Tundra first, is then Sub-Zero. But yeah, like I do think that would have been a much cooler teaser of like showing it, you actually see Bihan as Noob Saibot at the very end. Yeah.
Or like one of the more obscure characters like Mataro or something like that. He was like which another like kind of like it was a reference that made me kind of roll my eyes when Jax at the very beginning asks Cole about Eddie Tobias. And it's like, that's the like that's the names. Okay, you did it. Like, all right, good job. It's like, all right, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That fourth wall just got shattered a little bit. Kind of. Not exactly. It's not, I mean, I don't know. That's not technically a fourth wall break, but it kind of feels that way to me. Okay. If Johnny Cage is going to be in the next movie, I don't think they can afford it, but I think Tom Cruise would be great.
They could. Yeah, there's no way.
I really do. I mean, they can't afford him, but I think he would be hilarious in the role.
I'm pretty sure that would be the budget of the entire movie. But yeah, no, that would be honestly perfect. Yeah.
And someone agrees with me. Thank you.
I think it's the right answer. Honestly,
I could see like if expensive though.
True. I could see if it needed to be younger. There's a few other actors that may slot the role, but like Cage is supposed to be somewhat middle age. Like he's not. I mean, he's in the '95 version. He was probably like mid 30s. So Cruise is a little older, but yeah, he could still fit. Yeah.
I think Chris Evans could do it too. Mainly the character he played in Knives Out.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think that he's got sort of the range for that. Tom Cruise is ageless. Yeah, to some degree, Tom Cruise is ageless. There's like Tom Cruise in The Outsiders, and then there's Tom Cruise in everything else.
Yeah,
those are the two ages that he is.
Dude, one part that was really sick in the intro was I loved when we first saw the Sub-Zero freezing effects and how it like made his hand bleed. the ice like coming out of it. That was like a cool little touch that made it just feel like more real and just like like tied into like the gravity of it. I liked that.
Yeah, it's like how it's similar to like how in the X-Men films you understand clearly that every time Wolverine extends his claws, they actually cut through the skin of his hand.
Yeah. Yep.
That's something that's not really made out. It doesn't feel like it's particularly clear like in the comic books, and it's cool that with live action you have to kind of address things and make them look a certain way.
Yeah.
But you know, I do like. I mean, I agree with you about the fact that they kind of like humanize Scorpion and like make his storyline more like the lore in the game, that it creates an attachment to like the character emotionally, because Scorpion seems, you know, on his surface quite sinister, you know, and if you don't sort of understand exactly like the what and why of what's happening, then you kind of get the wrong idea about who he is and what he's there for.
Yeah.
And, you know, doing this whole like having a family, like the part where he tells his wife how special she is to him right before Bihan slaughters her and his child.
Which was the like, so of course, again, it's not an amazing film. It is a good video game movie, but it is like there was way too much of that heavy-handed foreshadowing where there, you know, it's like the Star Trek episode when the guy in the red shirt tells everyone how happy he is to be going on the away mission. It's like, oh, well, that dude's never coming back. Like, you know, like you knew as soon as Hanzo was saying that to his wife, it's like, okay, well, what horrible thing is going to happen now? Like,
it's like every time we talk about heavy-handed foreshadowing, I feel the need to bring it up in Walk Hard, where he's like, ain't nothing terrible going to happen today.
Exactly. Yep.
Like,
well, just like, okay, like as soon as I saw Jax without the metal arms, I was like, I bet we're going to get to see those bad boys get ripped off. Like I knew immediately, it was like, all right, it's not going to be like they're just, you know, reinforcing his arms. It's like, no, something's going to happen. He's going to lose his arms and then they'll be rebuilt.
Yeah, in the Mortal Kombat Annihilation film, I believe Jax had like arms that were like he put his arms into and they were metal, and that kind of and maybe it was because I don't believe Annihilation was R. I think maybe it was just because maybe the gore of someone getting their arms ripped off or dismembered was like would have put them in like a different like rating. Well, so maybe that's why they didn't do it. But
from what I understand about the actual like video game lore, it's not clear whether Jax has like real arms under those or if those are bionic replacement arms. I don't think that is. I'm not sure if that's canon. When I was looking at the Mortal Kombat wiki, there's like a I don't think it's just called Mortal Kombat Wiki, but there was a webpage I had pulled up that has articles on like every Mortal Kombat character and everything. And from what I understood, there isn't an actual canon as to what happened to his arms. So I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's I almost feel like in the game itself, they were like, well, I think it was Mortal Kombat 3 where Jax had the metal arms for the first time, right?
I believe so.
Because I think he debuted in 2, and then I believe in the third one's where he had the metal arms. It's almost like they were in a creative meeting and they're like, can we just give Jax metal arms? Like, I mean, why? Like, it looks cool. Like, what? I mean, why? Well, because like, what he, you know, what is he, like a big guy that hits hard? Like, he needs a thing.
Yeah.
He's got to have a shtick. It's like, okay, give him metal arms. Fine. How are we going to fit this in the story? I don't know. Just don't even tell him. Just put them on there. It's like, which is cool. I mean, it makes the character cooler in the game. Did you notice the reference to Nightwolf?
Yes, when he was on the wall of like Sonya Blade collecting all the stuff. Yeah, that was cool. That was
awesome. Like, I got really excited when I saw that. And, you know, and once again, like, this is the reason why I gave it a no, is because we got excited because we know who Nightwolf is.
Exactly.
But anybody else, if you didn't grow up with the games, if you didn't enjoy them, if you didn't, you know, get in fights with all your friends because they were better at this game than you, then it's not like, you know, but yeah, but like I said, I thought it was great. And I got excited about stuff like that.
Yeah, there were very many great little Easter eggs like that. Just little, like all the self-referential jokes and the stuff like that. Like, yeah, there was a lot of little stuff like that for Mortal Kombat fans that it was just perfect. Yeah.
What did you think about Liu Kang in this one?
He was okay. personally, I like that he kind of took more of a back seat, and that because like Cole was there as the main protagonist and everything, there wasn't a big role for him to be like in the forefront a lot. I do feel like the actor, I think that did a fantastic job. I don't think that it was anything wrong with his performance. It was just he was all right. Like, yeah, there were no scenes that really like made him stand out to me in a positive way, and nothing that made me think it was negative. It was just, I am almost completely neutral to Liu Kang's appearance in this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like he had to be there. You know, it's the character that has to be in the film, and I was never really, I wasn't particularly moved by his character.
Mm-hmm.
I thought and I don't know if it's the acting or the writing. I just liked the guy that played Kung Lao, Max Huang, I think is how you say his last name.
Okay.
I just liked his performance better.
Yeah, I did think that he was he stole the scenes a lot more. Like it was like, yeah, I mean, I guess in my experience with Mortal Kombat, Liu Kang was a much more prevalent character. I think a lot of people that when I played the game against them, that was more of like a go-to. Like Kung Lao kind of took a backseat a lot of times to that character. So it was cool in this that I did like his character more. He had a way cooler kill scene with Natara. That was fucking sick. That was probably one of my favorite gore scenes in the movie. That like the spinning hat was like fucking great.
So I don't really remember Natara from the games.
I don't think she came until later. Like she was let me see when her first appearance was. She made her debut in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, which was
that was like
number 5.
That was on the Xbox, right?
Yeah, that was
Xbox
like
and like PS3 or something.
Yeah, that came out at the end of 2002. So like, you know, again, like I'm an internet boomer. Most of my Mortal Kombat experience was 1, 2, 3, and Ultimate 3. Those were the ones that I played a lot. I did play a good amount of the where a lot of the lore comes from. What was it called? Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero, where it was a platform game with that I did play that one. That was on PS2, I believe, and that actually like was what got me interested years ago in the Mortal Kombat lore and taught me like a lot more that was going on. Because you know, like 1, 2, 3, and Ultimate 3, I played just as fighting games. I knew that there were characters in them that probably had backstories, but I did not ever understand anything about the lore until Mythologies.
So I'm thinking, like, I played Deadly Alliance, and I think I played it quite a bit. But I think because I remember Kenshi was one of the characters I really really liked. And then I remember like there was one character, I forget what the character's name was, but he had a fatality called Broken Leg Beatdown, where he like ripped your leg off and beat you to death with it.
That's kind
and I
of
was
cool.
Like, what the fuck? Like, who comes up with this shit? I think that was in Mortal Kombat 4. Okay. I'd have to look it up to remember the character's name. He was like the bald guy with like the.
Was it Quan Chi?
Yeah, Quan Chi.
Oh shit! Okay. Huh.
But I actually played a lot of Deadly Alliance. I think I might have actually owned that one for a while. But I don't really remember. Like I very, very, very like, not even vaguely, like I just don't remember Natara at all. I maybe she just wasn't a very good like playable character for people that are garbage at video games, because I'm not very good at them.
When I'm reading the entry here, it's not clear if she was. I assume she was a playable character. I don't think she was just one of the like pre-bosses or like I think they call them sub-boss, like the Goro slot. And the Mataro slot was always like, I think they call it the sub boss. I'm not. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Natara was locked. Okay, there's a lock symbol for her on the PlayStation. She was an unlockable character on every version of the game except for the Game Boy Advance version. She came with it, so you may have just never unlocked her, I guess. Yeah,
dude. Now that I think about it, you might not even remember this. I was traveling to Houston to visit like family, and you took me to the airport, and I feel like one of our friends was with us, and like my backpack was in your car and my Xbox was in it, like in the trunk.
Sounds
And
vaguely familiar.
the hatch on your Jeep flew open, like for no fucking reason while we were driving.
I remember
and
that.
I
Yeah.
like immediately like reached over, like grabbed my backpack, like my Xbox, no. Well, I did own Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Either that or I rented it when I was there, because my brother-in-law and I played that
That's
together on my Xbox. I remember this
That's
now.
cool. Yeah.
It's a weird thing. So yeah, like I said, near and dear to my heart, like the games.
We were talking about
And,
like
you know,
recently, like ways you could remember like where you were, how old you were, maybe what year it was. Like, so, you know, some people use like where they lived, but like what Mortal Kombat game were you playing at the time? You know, it's like if you remember an event, it was like, hold on, I was playing Deadly Alliance. Oh, that must have been around 2003 then. Like,
yeah, I mean that's it. And in some ways, like I really feel like I don't know. I could use that as a gauge for some stuff. I really think I could. Or like, you know, like what and there's a period of time where it's like, you know, which Marvel film had you seen?
Yep.
You know, that.
That's one. Who was Batman at the time? That's another one.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah. That actually is a good way to tell her, like, which group of people considers which actor to be Batman.
Yeah.
Can oftentimes clue you into like how old somebody is.
That is, yeah, that's a good. Oh, that's smart. Yeah, instead of asking someone's age, who's your Batman?
Yeah. I'm gonna start doing that when I meet somebody. Like, if we hire somebody new at work, like, oh hi, a few things I need to know. How do you feel about profanity? Okay, who's your Batman? Wait, what? Like, you're Batman? My what? Like, which actor is Batman to you? And I just wonder, like, how many people would actually answer the question or just look at me like a fucking crazy person. Which, I mean, I don't actually know what it looks like when someone looks at you like you're a crazy person, because I feel like that's how people look at me almost all the time.
It's just the normal face, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's like, so I'm not sure, but I also kind of, did you feel like, and I'm not sure how to talk about this. Don't know what words to use to ask you.
I'm nervous.
I can't think of any other words to use, but did you notice like the kind of like vague like sexism stuff with Sonya, like at the beginning of the film, like where the way that Kano like acts and treats her and stuff like that? Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a lot of Kano's character, like, and also trying to establish that he is like the villain character that is obviously going to, like, you know, backstab them in the future. So it's like they need to like exposition set up with limited screen time. How can we make him seem redeemable but also a shithead? So it's like I think it just kind of like fit into like doing that. Like, yeah, I guess like the feeling that I got wasn't that it was like some sort of subtle undertone in the movie that the creators were like,
I don't think the creators were I don't think the creators were trying to say anything. Okay. Like I don't think that they were like being sexist, but I kind of feel like there was this sort of like and then like there's a moment in the film where it's like then Kano gets his ass kicked by Sonya, you know, and it's like, why don't you kill me? Like, whoa, are you scared? Like, it was kind of a cool scene to like actually notice that with Kano, all of his like chest puffing macho bullshit, he's actually just a coward.
Yeah.
Like he'd rather die than like fight for the planet, that he's so like self-serving, you know. True. So there were a lot of ways that they made Kano unlikable, and I guess just the treating Sonya the way he did was like part of it, because like nobody else felt the need to like demean that character in the same way that Kano did, or really at all for that matter.
But however, I mean, there is, with that being said, Sonya and Kano they are supposed to be this antagonistic pair. So it's like, just simply because she's female and he's male, it may come across that way, even if there's not. But at the same time, there's also him kind of talking down to her because she doesn't have one of the marks. So it's like that is also like he just also thinks that she's not worthy in that regard. Which, for instance, I loved the when they show up at no, that's right. I'm sorry. There were two references to it that made me laugh. But the first one, when Cole first meets Sonya and Kano, and they're talking about his mark, and then Cole learns that Sonya doesn't have one, and Kano goes womp womp. That was perfect. That was fucking great. Like, and then later when they're practicing at the temple and Sonya's about to like walk out and be in part of a match, you're like, oh, this is only for champions. It's like, fucking whoops. Like, there were two like just really good like just laugh moments from Kano. That for such a shitty character, he did have his like I mean, he was the comic relief in a lot of scenes too, which like you don't have to be a good character to be funny, but
yeah, and like that's kind of like what you were talking about too, like with him being sort of redeemable.
Yeah,
like that kind of gives the audience, because like, you know, but if you know the games and you, or even if you've seen the original movie, you kind of know he's sort of a quote bad guy.
Yeah.
Because I was very puzzled by what was going on. I was like, what are they doing with Kano? Like I don't understand this. And okay, do you know if Kano's supposed to be an Aussie?
He always has had a generic Australian accent and uses that kind of slang and stuff too. So yeah, it has always been in Mortal Kombat in my from my understanding.
Yeah, I just kind of wondered about it because he was in like an Aussie in the other movie, and the person that played him was not quite so great. And actually, I do think let's see, what is his name? Josh Lawson. He actually, I thought he did some good acting.
You're meaning the recent one, right? Yes. Okay.
Yes. No, yeah, the recent one, the old one, I don't. Man, whatever.
Okay, I got what you were saying backwards. I thought you were saying you preferred the guy that played him in '95. I was like, oh, dude, I thought Josh Lawson did a great job. I thought it was it was very good.
If you thought I thought that the old one did a better job, like I feel like this is the episode I get fired. Like, so you think what?
I just Googled Josh Lawson and I was looking at a few things about so an article that came up is Kano actor Josh Lawson wants James Marsden as Johnny Cage in the sequel. I could actually see that. That's not a horrible casting job.
Hold on.
I could see that. He's got the Hollywood smile.
I pulled up a picture of him and I am trying to picture him with sunglasses on.
Okay. Well, I mean, his main known role, he has to wear sunglasses. You know that's Cyclops.
But
right?
There's like the red, like
okay.
You know, like the Johnny Cage sunglasses.
Okay, I was about to say, like I've always seen him with sunglasses. Like literally, if he doesn't wear sunglasses, he kills people around him. It is required for him to wear sunglasses.
Johnny Cage's sunglasses are like they're different, you know.
True. Yeah. True.
Oh my God, they're making a Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
It
Josh
made money,
Lawson's
right?
Gonna be in it.
It made money.
Oh God.
That's why like
everyone
like Mortal Kombat almost made money. It is so close, and I think that like it. And also, I mean, I guess in the beginning you said it's like its box office take was. I think it is actually still in theaters. So It's like So like it's kind of. I guess I said its current box office take is or whatever. But yeah, I'm assuming that. Oh my God, that would be sick. Okay, Sonic and Mortal Kombat crossover. They should just do that. They should just have a movie that is Mortal Kombat 2 and Sonic 2 combined. I love the video game. Like, did you ever play Marvel versus Marvel versus Capcom or those games? Those were fucking great. Just turn those into movies. I feel like you can't tell that I'm joking. I think you.
Oh. I know that you are, but like I am actually legitimately trying really hard to think like, how does that work? Like if you actually did that, like it's just so crazy. Sonic fatalities where he murders people with his hedgehog quills. Shadow the Hedgehog would have to be in it, and Knuckles would have to be also.
Tails could have a sick fatality. Just like spins the tails really quick. You get sucked into him and like eaten up like a fan. It's basically one of the cyborgs had a fatality similar to that. They had like a giant fan that would like open
Cyrax.
up and was it Cyrax? Okay, yeah.
His little ponytail thing.
Hey, you just reskin Cyrax's tails. That works. Like that'd be sweet.
I mean, and the problem that I have with Sonic the games is that they just gave people very wrong impressions of what certain animals look like. Knuckles is supposed to be an echidna.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. I thought he was another hedgehog.
No, he's an echidna.
What the fuck is an echidna?
I believe that it looks a little bit like a hedgehog, kind of, but I think,
Okay.
they're an egg-laying mammal.
Whatever I looked up is not okay. I spelled it Echidna, which apparently in Greek mythology was a monster that was half woman, half snake.
Okay, the first thing Echidna.
No,
Like
I found him now. Yeah, I clicked the mythology link. I went to Wikipedia and I found the mythology page first. But no, yeah, I do see him now. They are kind of hedgehog-esque.
And I'm pretty sure that Tails was supposed to be a quote flying squirrel, but
I always thought Tails was a fox. Holy shit!
Maybe he is a fox.
I have no idea.
Hold on.
What is Tails?
It's like, I love it. Like we're on the Mortal Kombat episode. We're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog video game.
Well, okay. I mean, in all fairness, I did realize that it's like, okay. So with a lot of the movies that we prefer to talk about,
he's a two-tailed fox.
Sweet. So like last week, you don't know Jack. The bulk of the conversation is about the morality, the ethics of assisted suicide and everything. It's like, what meta conversation can we really have about Mortal Kombat? Do we want to talk about like the ethics of violence or it's like where really can we go other than having fun talking about video games and movies?
Well, also if you want to talk about like things related to, okay, so this is something that's always bothered me about Mortal Kombat. Many of those fatalities are not like biologically or anatomically correct. You know what? Let me get my pen out so I can look smart.
Yeah.
Many of those fatalities are not like anatomically or biologically correct. Like they just don't make sense to me. Like, how can you actually rip out someone's spine with their skull attached to it? What about the ribs? What about the connective tissue? There's lots of things that are like hanging off of that spine, or like or that are connected to other things that are connected to the spine.
Are you meaning to tell me that with enough energy and like concentrated arcana that you can't just turn your opponent into a baby?
Concentrated what?
Isn't that the magic in this movie? Didn't they okay, so that's our midichlorians, right? Like that's what makes them special, is they're able to unlock their arcana or whatever. I think that's what they called it.
But. Yeah, I forget the word. It's something like that. I chose to I guess remove it from my memory because science, anatomical biology. I'm just gonna keep saying shit like that.
But no, it is. I mean, you are 100% true. Like one of the most famous Kano. I think it's a Kano fatality where he like grabs the opponent by their teeth and then rips out the entire skeleton. Like that isn't possible. But like what makes it fun is the crazy over the top gore that is not at all possible. Yeah. Like if they were all just super realistic, it would be boring. Like I love the fact that Kano can, like, I mean, his heart rip, like that he does in the fucking movie and even says Kano wins. Like that's a great self-reference too. Like, yeah.
Who says flawless victory? Someone says that.
That was Kung Lao whenever he kills Natara. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was interesting too. I wish that they had done a scene in that weird forest where the trees have faces that was in the second game.
That would have been kind of cool.
That shit was spooky.
Well, but I do think a lot of those scenes or like stages or whatever are supposed to be in like Outworld. So it's like this mostly took like this was all Earth realm. Yeah. So it's like, but I guess from what the creator did say is if they are able to go forward with this, they are very interested in exploring a lot of the Mortal Kombat lore and universe. So hopefully there would be Netherrealm and Outworld and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, like hopefully there'd be cool shit, but
yeah, and for me, like once again, it's like I like the movie. I'm one of the people that I would suggest the movie to.
Yeah.
Movie people, not necessarily.
Yep.
So like as a fan of the series and someone who is clinging to the hope that the 1995 monstrosity didn't have to be it. Like
I don't even think it's that bad. I thought
it's so good. It's so terrible. Have you watched it? Did you? Okay.
I watched it recently. Yeah. I will 100% agree that the Annihilation I think was horrible. I do think though for a video game movie, again it's with that caveat, but for a video game movie, I don't think the 95 one was that bad. Of course it's okay. The cheese it fits to me. It fits the Mortal Kombat to me.
For a video game movie, in 1995.
Yes. That is the other part too, because like if you try to judge any of the CG, it's gonna fall way flat too.
Well,
but
the bar was set so low that all right. This is something that I think might be a relevant point to make, or well, not just relevant, but maybe valid.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is valid, I think it's relevant. It almost seems like what's happened with film is that it's people say shit like, oh, well, superhero movies are always terrible. Like, oh, movies based on books are never as good as the book. Video game movies are garbage,
usually, yeah.
And it's almost like the film industry is like, okay, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
So we've seen superhero movies that are really, really good, not DC.
And we've seen really bad too. Think of the like early 2000s X-Men. Those were pretty bad. Those were pretty rough.
Those are not so great. And I mean, I think the McAvoy storylines were pretty brilliant. I mean, like, the only thing that saved the old films was Patrick Stewart. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Patrick Stewart.
He's Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is just great. That like he wasn't in it. He didn't do enough to save it, but I mean that was a great casting job, and obviously has gone through the entire universe because of that.
It's like so the X-Men series, like starring like Patrick Stewart and his amazing like acting skills and Hugh Jackman's ever-growing biceps.
Well, Albred did bring up too. Ian McKellen was also brilliant as Magneto. That's another one. Yeah, I kind of completely overlooked that.
He's the bad guy though.
And we also, from those, we got the brilliant friendship of Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, which is just the absolute cutest thing on earth. I love their Instagram posts and all sorts of everything together. Like, yeah, they're if we could be like that in our 70s, I think though that's like best friend goals. Like if we could eventually end up like Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, like
I think that's what every two friends should aim for, is that level of friendly friends. And it's like I don't like to use this term often, so I use it very sparingly, but that friendship, it's adorable.
Okay.
It just is.
You got me really nervous on which term you were using there. I had the button ready. I was like, is he gonna say it?
Beep, beep, beep. I don't even call puppies that. Actually, I hate puppies and kittens. I'm okay with cats and dogs. I just hate puppies and kittens. But yeah, that is a good point. Though McKellen is a brilliant actor. Wasn't
Albred, my main point of contention with them is how early 2000s they were. I think that what the superhero movies started to get correctly, and what this Mortal Kombat movie got very correct, like the wardrobe design. Like Sub-Zero looks like Sub-Zero. Look, go back and watch the early 2000s X-Men movies, and they were even making jokes like, oh, what do you want? Yellow spandex? And they were all wearing these like Matrix outfits that, black leather and shit. It's like, no, we want a fucking comic book movie. Give us our characters that look like they're supposed to from the comic books. Like, that is what the design should be. Like, that's kind of one of my main problems, is like, rather than embracing what it was, the studio tried too hard to make them like fit in with something else, rather than just saying like, no, this is going to be a comic book movie. Like, let's go full sail into that.
Yeah, I mean, on the subject of Hugh Jackman, also, like, one of the most authentic looking things for the comic book was Hugh Jackman's facial hair and his hair.
True. Yep.
That looked very comic book.
Yep.
And it's funny, like when I was in someone was like trying to make fun of a jacket that I had. It was like a black motorcycle style jacket with like white stripes on it, and they said, nice X-Men jacket. And I was like, it's a goddamn shame.
Yeah.
That this jacket can be called an X-Men jacket.
Which, speaking of, I know we're getting like way off, but have you seen? You watched a lot of like the WandaVision, right? Yeah, like.
No, I have not watched very much of it at all.
Okay,
I've seen like maybe 3 episodes.
We actually get like Scarlet Witch in her actual outfit. Like it looks sick. Like it is like she's got the red like and the crown and everything. Like it looks fucking great. And it's like that is when done well, it looks great on screen, and it will satisfy both the comic book fans and also film goers too, as long as it doesn't look way too over the top cheesy.
Right. You have to also it's like authenticity, but recognizing it'll be on film, and like making sure you do screen tests and shit like that. And for this movie, there's like a lot of sort of rollbacks I have to do, and like back pedals I have to do for a lot of the shit that I just said about the old movie.
Okay.
Like this is an example, my friends, of admitting when you're incorrect, and then you can grow from it. Okay. Albred in our chat here said that 8-year-old me loved Mortal Kombat 95. And that's who it was for.
Yeah.
So this makes sense because the market was, I was like, around that age too when the first one came out. That was the market.
Yep.
We thought it was great. And our moms that insisted on coming into the theater with us rolled their eyes. And it's too bad there weren't smartphones then because they had nothing to do.
Yep.
It's like, so we were the market, and like watching it as an adult now, of course I'm going to think it's fucking awful because by adult standards, it's terrible, but they recognize their market. So maybe saying that the movie was garbage is not really fair. I think the reason why I have sort of almost an emotional problem with the old one, because I'm pretty sure I think it was that one. Pretty sure it was Mortal Kombat. I watched Mortal Kombat with my girlfriend.
Okay.
Like being like, this movie's so great. And I hadn't seen it since I was a little ass kid.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
And not only was it like, because I hope I'm remembering correctly. Human memories are terrible. There was one thing that broke my heart recently because like I watched it. It was garbage. And my girlfriend thought it was garbage. And I felt like an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it just broke my heart. I was like, oh my God, it really is bad. Like not only was it like disappointing for older me, but I was also just fucking embarrassed.
Sure, yep. Well, it's like that moment where, so we also do another show where we present music to each other. And that is something like when you do that personally, when you like, you have a friend, you want to show them a song, you're like, oh shit, hold on. It's going to get better. I promise. Just wait for this one part. Like you feel like you're exposing a part of yourself when showing that to someone, and a song's only like, 3 to 5 minutes. When you do that with a movie, when you show it and you're like, for the whole movie, you're ever to sit there like, oh, this is not as good as I remember it. Oh no, that guy's a bad actor. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah. And like you get done and they're like, that was terrible. Like just don't look at me. I need a minute.
I know.
But
you should have just doubled down and been like, well, the sequel's way better. Let's put on Annihilation.
Because, well, I mean, like you only watched Annihilation because the robots were in it. That was the only reason why anybody cared about it.
True.
Speaking of excited about characters being in movies, goddamn was Cabal not disappointing in this. Oh my shit.
I thought so one of my favorite parts of this movie was I thought one of my favorite parts of this movie was the wardrobe design. I did think he looked great. I thought the costume was fantastic. Yeah. The one action scene we got with him where he actually like dissipated Liu Kang's fireball with his little like move, that was okay. But yeah, he really was kind of a throw. Well, okay, so they needed evil champions that could be defeated, that they didn't want to give enough screen time to like actually build the character up. So yeah, they had to throw, I forget what was the other dude with the hammer, General something. I don't even know that character. I forget what games he was even from, but what's that?
I had to look him up. I was like, who the hell is this? I think he might have only been in like the most recent one.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I was not familiar with that character whatsoever. But it was like, yeah, I agree with you. Cabal was for a character that I think is actually kind of cool. He was very lackluster in this. That's 100% fair.
Like he looked great, and that was the thing that I was most excited about. But like the voice actor, like the actor that did, I guess he was, I don't know if they had the same voice, the same actor under the costume as they did for the voice acting, but like the voice sounded silly. I liked that he did his little dash move was really cool. That looked cool on screen, I thought. Oh, Reiko looked totally different. I think he was in either Deadly Alliance or Deception. He looks like Nightwing.
How do you spell his name? Is it
Reiko?
Reiko. Okay.
And then there's a later. He basically looked kind of like one of the ninjas, almost like Ermac without a mask.
Okay.
Which, I mean, he looks different in one of the later games. I'm looking at him now. Mortal Kombat 4 is where he originated, and he's in Mortal Kombat Gold and Mortal Kombat Armageddon. That's where he was in. And does he have a hammer in Armageddon?
I'm scrolling through his like Mortal Kombat wiki page here, and there's a section about the Reiko Khan controversy, where it's like apparently for the most part Reiko was just like a simple new character just so they can add more faces to Mortal Kombat 4, and like he's basically just a replacement for Shao Kahn apparently. Like he even has the hammer. He like his outfit here looks very similar. Like it's just okay.
That's a 100% a throwaway character for this film. Like that's a throwaway character for the film in general.
It was definitely like, I mean, you've seen Suicide Squad. This was our Captain Boomerang, where like as soon as he showed up, it's like, oh, that guy's gonna die real soon.
Yeah, and I was just excited about the costume, like that they gave Cabal, and for a character that was just kind of like there, I feel like they did a really good job with it.
You know who else
he's one of my favorites.
You know who else I thought looked pretty decent in this too? Syzoth. Reptile did not look bad for a movie with not a huge CG budget. Like and of course comparing to the 95 version, Reptile looked way cooler. So we definitely got a better Reptile.
Head and shoulders above. Did you notice Kitana's fan in the temple they were training at?
I did. Yes. And that was a little background. Yep. I thought that was a cool little hint in the background. Yeah, all those little Easter eggs. There's a lot in this movie just for the fans like that I think are great.
So Sissy Stringer that played Melina.
Yes.
I feel like they should have cast some. Well, I think Sissy Stringer would have made a better Jade. But she played Melina really well.
Yeah, I thought she was great as Melina. Yeah, I thought that was a great job. But I could see that. I could definitely see that. That's fair. However, I mean,
Jade,
you wouldn't have Jade without Melina. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that's
if
true.
She's gonna be one, like, yeah, I honestly, like, yeah, I'm glad she was Melina.
Yeah, and Jade isn't like as much of a staple character as Melina.
True.
You know, like Melina is like very much like the one of the characters that everybody sort of recognizes.
Yeah.
And like, I'm hoping if they do a sequel, Baraka shows up. I always enjoyed that character.
That would be cool.
I always thought he was cool.
Yeah. He's the guy that has the one long thing that comes out each arm, right? The like big claw. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, he's cool.
Like the crazy teeth. Yeah, like the shark teeth kind of thing. Yeah. He's like part of some like weird like group that like lives in some weird area in Outworld. I think it's a story with that. He's like he has like a there's like some kind of a tribal kind of group that they seem to have like an honor shame kind of code. Like it's just and that's actually funny because there was a Mortal Kombat cartoon like animated series.
I don't know
that came out.
Any of that? What?
Really? It came out after the movies, and there was like a little bit of lore about like Baraka and like where like he came from.
Apparently, Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm is the name of it. Huh? I never saw any of that. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to find this on like Crunchyroll or some sort of like free online cartoon, and I'm totally watching this. Holy shit!
Yeah, I mean, I watched the hell out of this when I was younger. I mean, I even had the feeling that it was cheesy then,
dude.
So,
do you know who played Do you know who played Stryker's voice in this? He was fucking Ron Perlman, apparently.
What?
Yeah, he's credited as Stryker's voice. That's fucking sick. I love Perlman.
Dude, Ron Perlman does so much like weird work.
Yeah.
Like he was in one night. Okay, this is hilarious. But one night I went out. I just kind of by myself. I went to like a whiskey bar. This was like a few years ago, several years actually. Went by myself. Got an Uber back home. I was quite drunk. I then got another Uber to go to McDonald's to get some food that was terrible for me instead of getting an Uber Eats. Then I came home and I don't remember if I was on Prime or Netflix, but I was searching for awful movies. And I was just like, I'm just gonna watch a terrible movie right now because like I am too intoxicated to watch anything good.
Yeah.
And I found this crazy movie where like Ron Perlman plays like a judge and finds God or some shit. It's some of the weirdest, cheesiest shit I've ever watched in my life, and I can't even tell you what the name of it is.
It's called Hand of God. It's called Hand of God.
Oh shit, you found it.
Oh, actually, hold on. I'm sorry. This is a TV series.
Oh,
Hand of God was a TV series.
Like I said, I was really drunk.
Oh shit, yeah, this might be it. Yeah, a morally corrupt judge suffers a breakdown and believes God is compelling him onto a path of vigilante justice. No, this looks different. Maybe Perlman has played a judge multiple times. This actually this doesn't look horrible.
This is the one.
This has a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb. I wonder if this is this was a series for 3 years, from 2014 to 2017. Huh. Interesting. Dude, remember we were talking about like the human memory? That's like, I mean, I know, like, as you were saying, you were drunk at the time, but still, it's like, that's crazy that you remember that as a movie. And it's actually like, it was a series that ran for 3 years. I'm
not even sure how much of it I watched.
I was getting all of it. You binge watched all of it in one night, and you're like, that movie was way too long. I was getting really excited as you were talking about that though, because like for some reason I thought the story was going to end up with you running into Ron Perlman. Like when you were like at the whiskey bar alone, I was like, and fucking Ron Perlman was there, and then you took an Uber away, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. But then you took an Uber to McDonald's. I was like, fucking Ron Perlman was there, and you're like, oh no, you went home. I'm like, oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, and then Ron Perlman appeared on my TV in a series that I thought was a movie.
Okay, another question I have here. How did you feel about our beautiful prince in this movie? Was Prince Goro like a cool appearance for you? Do you think his character like, I mean, character, quote unquote, do you think that his appearance in this like was cool, interesting? Was the CG good?
I mean, he's kind of a sort of, you know, I guess like I called Melina, like a staple character. Yeah. Like Goro is one of the things. I believe in one of the Mortal Kombat games, in the credit screen, Goro actually appears and like rips one of the signs open or some shit for like the logo. Cool. I forget which one it was, but I mean, he's a character everybody associates with the games. So like I was excited to see Goro, but it's like, what are you really gonna do with Goro? Like Goro's just really big and scary and has forearms and really hard to beat in the game. Like, yep. And it's just like I was happy to see Goro because, like, you know, once again I consider him like a staple character of the series, but I don't think they did much with him. Like, I feel like they should have made him seem scarier, you know?
I do agree with that. I feel like he should have been more intimidating. However, I disagree with they didn't do much, because I thought that was a cool way to finally unlock Cole's power. Where, like, he basically was like, you know, with Kano, it was getting angry. With Cole, it was getting hurt. And it was like, here is this like massive monster that you cannot fight as a human by yourself. And eventually, like, him taking enough damage was what, you know, caused him to finally have his power unlocked, which I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it. At least it was like through Goro, but no, I do agree that he wasn't intimidating enough. He just kind of felt like he was like there.
Yeah. Like they used Goro to move the plot along for Cole Young. You know what? Goro was Cole Young's manic pixie girl.
That's kind of true. Yeah, that's fair.
That's what happened.
He was a plot device. Yeah, definitely.
Goro was a flat character that just helped the male protagonist move their plot forward and you know, develop their character arc. That's what happened. And I wish that Goro could have been Goro for himself. Yeah. I wanted him to be his own Goro. I want him to have his own story.
Speaking of flat characters, though, how did you feel about our own Steve Harvey as Jax? Have you seen? Hold on. Have you seen the picture? Like, oh my God! I have to. It will be edited in the episode on screen. Tell me that in that scene where he was fighting against Raiko, that he was not looking a lot like Steve Harvey.
This is crazy. There's a couple where people actually Photoshop Steve Harvey's face right on him.
Yeah, but when it's a side by side though, it's like that. He was
like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, he looks a lot like Steve. So, what if Steve Harvey just played Jax? Do you think you would have liked Jax more or less if it was Steve Harvey?
I would have just been really upset when Jax tried to inspire all the other people.
Oh my god, yeah. But no, you are right that like he had he was way too flat in this movie. He was the character he was supposed to be, I guess, but it was just a lot of just kind of the cheesy one-liners of like when he kills with Raiko with his arms, like, oh, these motherfuckers work. You know, just like kind of
like right. I hate the fact that they had his characters say motherfucker a lot. Like that to me was like you know the thing I said about Sonya and saying like I don't fault the creators.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I do fault the creators for Jax being like I'll just say it. They made Jax a fucking token. And
well,
like
the rumor is though that the part was written for Samuel L. Jackson and he turned it down. So they didn't change the script.
Seriously?
After that. No, they no. I'm just
what? I was like, why would it go? Okay.
But no, but because he famously says the MF word a lot. That's Samuel L. Jackson's thing, man.
Yeah, but Jax did. Okay, the only thing that Jax really needed to say, he didn't say.
Which is that? Which one?
Gotcha.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah,
that's the only thing that Jax needed to say, and Jax did not say it, and I'm very upset about that.
I'm fair.
Like they did the leg sweep scene, they did the come here, like the Jax didn't say gotcha. That's what Jax says. Like you know, like I don't know. Like it did bother me. Like I did roll my eyes with a couple of his lines.
Yeah.
That, you know, like there's a few cheese lines that they gave Wesley Snipes and Blade, but those lines fit the character as Wesley Snipes was playing him.
True. Yeah. Yep.
Like, but for this, like, I don't know, man. Like maybe I'm being too sensitive. I don't know. But like I just found it kind of it's like because he's unconscious for most of the movie too.
Yeah, I mean that is true. He's kind of like there during the setup and okay. Another weird thing is when he was in his Sleeping Beauty scene, why was Sonya like all touching on his nubs, like where his arm, like that just seems kind of weird that like wasn't not an open wound because I guess they said that the ice did cauterize it, but she was like immediately just like grabbing on where his arm used to be and saying, hey, like that's. You need to be doing that. It's a sensitive area. Like we're working on that.
Yeah. Plus, the term cauterizing. I don't know.
Yeah, can frostbite cauterize? Like I don't know if that's possible. Like, I guess. Hold on. Okay, so we're not arguing whether someone can create ice out of nowhere with magic, but we're arguing whether it can cauterize wounds. I think it's just a magic universe.
Okay, yeah, okay. I mean, it is for a comic book movie, which is for a video game movie. Freud called. For a video game movie, it's good science.
One thing that was really strange to me, and I even have this note here. It's like, why am I well over halfway through the movie and the tournament hasn't started yet? I guess I mean, there ended up not being a tournament. The whole point of the movie was that Shang Tsung was cheating so bad that the tournament just doesn't take place in this movie. Are we still preparing it for the next one? Like that just seemed kind of weird that it was like, I was excited for them to, like in the 95 version, go to Outworld, possibly like have there be, like I was waiting for something that didn't happen and I ended up being disappointed by that.
Yeah, I kind of want that to happen too, but I feel like that they built this movie for a possible sequel.
Yeah.
And it might just end up like the Zack Snyder cut of, the Justice League, that it just never happens. And even though there's like a whole lot that could have the potential, but I think they very much did it on purpose just to kind of like create some hype for the next one. So I think that they knew that the audience, us, would really want them to end up there. So like this just gives us more reason to like go crazy about the second one, which hopefully, if there is a second one, it's not nearly as garbage as Annihilation was.
I think the bar is so low that I don't know if they could even do that.
See, the thing about Annihilation, though, was like it was only a couple years later, but like by then I was old enough to know the movie sucked.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, okay, so like critics aren't, objectively right or anything, but if you just look at the scores between like the 95 and the 97 Annihilation, like the general consensus is that just there is a steep drop in quality between the two. But how did you feel about the actual final like Sub-Zero versus Scorpion fight that we get near the end? Did you think that was satisfying?
I thought it was brilliant. Like I thought it was epic. Like the fact that Sub like pulls out the sword there. That's awesome. Not Sub. Scorpion pulls out the sword there. That shit was awesome.
And Sub-Zero pulls out the ice sword. The fact that like he actually like used that a bit, like the ice sword, the ice wall. There were like multiple throwback moves that he used. Like I thought that was really well done.
And the fact that it kind of happens like wasn't that in like the fight like venue or gym or whatever that
But all frozen over too, which is I feel like a scene that they've used in Mortal Kombat games where there was like a gym or a boxing ring like that was all frozen over for Sub-Zero.
I just like the fighting. Like to me, it reminded me of like the kind of movies that I enjoy, like the type of quote, martial arts films. That the way that they fought, like even the sound effects there, like the music, like that fight scene I thought was epic.
Yeah. Well, and it did. I mean, that's when they first brought in the actual theme, right? Like that's when the first time I remember hearing it in the entire movie was like as soon as like dun 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 dun, dun and it like, I mean, okay, music means a lot to both of us, obviously. Scoring is great. Like that was a really cool hype moment that like, I'm not a huge Mortal Kombat fan, but it was like, that was like a really cool emotional moment. It was like, oh shit, it's the song. It's the one.
Yeah. It's like the one that like when we were like young, like that was at that point, like I never really heard metal yet. Mm-hmm. And that was like pretty heavy, I guess. Like kind of semi-electronic music.
Well, it was also like with the 8-bit sound processor we're hearing.
I noticed like that little moment where they did that just enough for us to notice, and that's what I thought was cool. It wasn't like some distasteful kind of throwback. Yep. They just kind of popped it in there a little bit, like kind of as a subtlety.
I love that you just said they just popped it in there a little bit, kind of like a subtlety. There's so many out of context sentences that are just brilliant, and that's one of my favorites.
Nobody clipped that. Nobody clipped that.
I do. One of my notes from that fight, I thought I literally typed out, I really want Scorpion to do his skull face fatality, but I know it just doesn't fit this character. And then a second later, I was like, oh, there it is. I didn't actually expect that. Like,
I like the fact that it's like it sort of melts his face.
Yeah, that was a cool
and
effect.
Then like you see sort of the skeletal structure underneath, and then after that kind of like heals immediately because he's like a undead ninja or some shit, ninja demon, whatever there's a weird thing that they call him, like what he is in the films. Mm-hmm. But hey, kill that spider. Kill it.
I thought you were talking to Alexa.
Oh no, I'm talking to my cat. Dude,
Alexa, kill that spider.
That's what you're here for. Doesn't it look delicious? Do you want a cat?
I can't even take my cat when I'm moving.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, the only way to
especially like you're not selling him very well too. You're like pointing out that he doesn't do his job and then trying to pawn him off. That's not.
Yeah, I'm just.
That's like when someone's like, "Man, this food sucks. Do you want some of this?"
It's like, "Oh, this smells terrible. Smell this, dude."
Well, that's just fun.
Yeah,
everyone likes it. Everyone likes to smell stinky.
Yeah, I mean, right? Yeah. So enough about my cat. Back to the movie. Just on the subject of the fight, like I because that scene is a climax.
Oh yeah.
and it's what everyone is looking forward to
Yep.
the whole film.
Yep.
And for that to be a climax, they 100% delivered on a climactic scene. That's what I really felt like it was. That's how it played to me. It was exciting to me. It made every moment of cheese that I had to deal with before that, even though I enjoy the games, it was super cheesy. Every moment of like unenjoyable cheese was completely worth it to see that scene.
True. Yeah. I think, yeah, it was, and it was great that it was, excuse me, two very talented martial arts actors as well. So the fighting was great and everything. So yeah, it was, yeah, incredibly well done. And I loved the, there was another really, really cute, nice touch after that where, when Liu Kang meets, okay, actually, yeah, this was a great redeeming Liu Kang character moment that I thought was cool when he says, "Sit, I will warm you," and like has the fireball for like Cole's like family. I thought that was really cool.
That was cool. Like it makes him like seem like, oh, what a cool guy.
Yeah.
And also like, oh, that he can use his powers to like do nice stuff for people.
And I thought it was cool that like he has a level of control over his powers that anyone else we saw didn't. Like Kano had to become really mad for it to activate. Like, you know, Cole has to become hurt. I guess like we see that Sonya was like, after she got that from Kano, she was like, after she got the mark from Kano, she was kind of able to just use her, what was her ability called? Some sort of sonic discs or something, right? I forget what it was called.
I forget what it's called, like that little ring thing. I don't remember. It had like a silly name, if I recall.
What? You didn't like that it didn't follow the original lore? I thought it stayed pretty true to the original lore. Which parts didn't you like, Lee? I thought there was quite a bit that was pretty close. Yo, what's up, Ellie? How you doing? My very final notes here are like that it was leaving room for Mortal Kombat 2, obviously. And then I did even have the note that it's like obviously Noob Sabat. I do think that like the dead Sub-Zero body disappearing into the smoke gave me that feeling a lot. I hope that's where they're going with that. That is a really fucking cool character that well, then also, I mean, the dude that played Bihan did a great job. I think that like it would be a shame not to bring him back for the sequel when there's an obvious character he is just supposed to be. However, they did not set up Tundra at all. It would have been interesting to have his little brother be there so we knew that like, oh, that's going to be the next Sub-Zero.
And they might do like one of those like weird like flashback things in the sequel where like meanwhile, you know, like this was happening the whole time or something like that. I mean, it's and if I'm honest, like I wouldn't find that cheap in the sequel. Like I would find that a perfectly acceptable device to use.
Sure. Yeah.
I would never have a problem with that at all.
I normally have an issue with retconning, but like when it's done well, it can be done well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's obvious, like listening to us talk, that like we both are hopeful and are in some way almost anticipating a sequel.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched it, if you have HBO Max, you haven't watched it, I think it's still streaming for another like 20 days or so after this.
Something like that.
And you like this series and you want them to make a new one, go watch it to like, you know, increase the numbers on that. You know, also, if you are at a point where you feel safe, like going to a theater, maybe you're vaccinated and have like a hazard suit, I don't know, go and, you know, help increase the revenue for this movie to get them to make a sequel for us. After I told you not to watch the movie in the intro.
Yeah, I know that's his real name, Lee. I like his code name more. But I guess I mean that's consistent. If I've been calling Bihan that the entire time, I should use Qiao Lang. Okay, spoiler alert, I just can't pronounce it. That's why I was doing that. I can pronounce Tundra, so that's why. But but Lee, in this movie, this wasn't supposed to be the first tournament. We hear from Shang Tsung that they've won 9 tournaments in a row. So this was at least the 10th tournament that was coming up. However, though, like Kuai Liang. Oh, thank you. Kuai Liang. Okay. But however, like in the original lore, Scorpion kills Bihan, but that was during the first tournament, I believe, right? Isn't like in the game, I think that happened actually during the first tournament. Yeah, so I mean it takes some liberties, but I think a lot of it stayed pretty close. As close as closer than most video game movies. I'll give it that. How many
Yeah.
how many more notes you got here? Do you got anything else you want to cover?
Oh, dude, you remember when I said I was relying on you completely for this episode?
You got no
I
notes?
have no notes.
Okay.
I didn't even put my favorite line in here like while we were talking.
Okay. I did
I'm
have
just kidding. My favorite line was actually in your way before, but yeah.
I did have one I liked how, and this was honestly me just being like really really stupid. In the beginning, I don't think I understood the timeline much at all. I thought that the baby was just Cole. I'm glad that it was like actually like ancestry and not just like that Raiden showed up, took Cole, and then took him to America. So that was good. But
I was a little confused too. For a little while, I was like, "What?" I was super confused actually. Yeah. So I'm right there with you. I just didn't have the courage to tell everybody, but now I do.
good, yeah. You're not the only dumb one, man. I was very.
Yeah.
I guess it should have made sense that it's like they were actually ninja and samurai. Like this should have been obviously. I guess is that just like that? I just think that Japan and China are still like that. Is that just me being? That's what's going on over there, right? Like
it's the stupid American in us all.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please tell us in the comments below if you were also confused by the timeline.
That was another just like super heavy-handed foreshadowing that like I don't know if that was supposed to be a reveal later when we figured out that he was part of Hanzo's ancestry, but it's like that just felt so obvious from the beginning that I can't tell watching that if that was supposed to be a twist for the viewer or not. It was just like it didn't feel like it was a secret.
If that was supposed to be a twist, then they insulted all of our intelligence.
Yeah, right. Another thing too, like the one thing that I don't understand, and maybe this might just be part of the lore, and maybe it's just Raiden's character, but it seems like it doesn't make sense to me that like Raiden has to follow this strict set of rules while Shang Tsung is breaking them, obviously. And Raiden is supposed to be like an elder god that seems like he would be more powerful. So it's almost like, why are his hands tied by some sort of bureaucratic rules? Like it seems strange to me. Like I wish there was something that made sense.
They have to make it work for the same reason we discussed when we did the Zack Snyder Justice League episode. That the problem with DC's characters is that they're just too fucking powerful.
Yep, true.
So like, I agree with you though. It is kind of weird. Like it seems wrong, but as I say quite often, the plot must go on.
But it almost seemed like later in the movie they kind of like hinted at it a little bit, where it was almost like, I forget who said what line, but it was like near the end, it was almost like hinting that like Raiden could have done something the entire time but wasn't. And that was very similar to like his role in the 95 movie too. It's like you kind of like you find out that he was in it purposefully not intervening to like let people grow in ways and stuff like that, and like, which is a cool thing. That's a cool concept, but it's like it wasn't fleshed out nearly as well as as just some throwaway line. But
yeah, and they could have added something in the story to explain why he wasn't doing anything a little bit better, like if his powers were limited for some reason, or if there was some motive that he had. So yeah, I kind of agree with you that it's like, okay, yeah, you can do it, but maybe like add something to let us kind of know what the deal is, like explain it to us, or no, but don't tell us, show us.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Other than
George
just
Lucas, that shit.
Other than just explaining that there are rules, it's like, well, okay, if there are rules, why is Shang Tsung not bound by the same rules? That just seems.
There are rules.
Yeah,
there are rules.
That's true. That's fair.
Don't ask questions.
All right. Well,
there are rules.
I am.
There are rules, Ty. I'm sorry.
You know what the rule number 1 is, though.
Don't talk about Mortal Kombat.
No, that's actually rule number 7. Rule number 1 is you give me your movie crush first. Who you crushing on for Mortal Kombat?
I'm like I said, man. This is just kind of like a Jessica McNamee, I think is how you say her name. Okay, that's it. Where else can you go? Sonya Blade. That's really the only option. Why would you crush on anyone other than Sonya Blade? I don't get it.
Because Sissy Stringer was in this movie. I think Melina is just a strictly better option.
Well, I thought we were going with character here.
Yeah. I am.
Melina's a like what?
And
Okay, Melina gets angry enough, the sides of her face rip open to expose her big, scary demon teeth. And yes, she eats people.
I haven't seen the problem yet. Wait, I think you're building to the issue, I guess.
Dude, there is not like a weird website on the internet for you. Like there isn't one. Nothing exists for you.
Okay. Google Melina rule 34.
What?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh God, no, please don't. Oh God, I can't stop myself. I'm the Googler. Oh God, viewers, don't try this at home. Oh no.
I just want to see his face.
Oh no. Oh God, why are there so many X's on this?
You're seeing
okay.
That one I did.
No.
I've put a lot of work into Melina Rule 34 stuff. My photoshopping in my free time usually is creating I'm just kidding. So that's going to bring us to the end of this week's episode.
Okay, all right, yeah. Don't Google that, for the love of God. If you're watching, do not Google that, please. Like, please don't. Gross.
Oh my God. Yeah. Let's move on to favorite line. There were two that I really had a tough time picking from. I loved two lines a lot, and yeah, I mean they're both just funny lines. So yeah, mine's gonna be a meme no matter what. You want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Why don't you go first for this one? I want to hear yours.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, so the rule with favorite line is I'm supposed to deliver it as if I would if I was playing the character. However, my Australian accent is really shitty. So if I was playing Kano, I would not be using that accent. But I've got a better idea. How about you two get on your knees and take turns sucking my sack? That line just cracked me up. Like I know it's gross. I know it's stupid, but it did make me actually cackle and rewind twice just to rewatch it. It cracked me up.
That was a funny line. This one's going to be really difficult. This was kind of a line that I was looking forward to hearing, but I didn't know I was going to hear because I was looking forward to the moment for this thing to happen the entire fucking movie. So I'm going to try really hard not to butcher this, because the thing is I think that Hiroyuki Sanada has a regional accent that I can't actually duplicate.
Gotcha.
But I'm going to try real hard not to screw this one up and also not to be too cheesy with it. Imoya! Scorpiona!
That wasn't bad. No, I did. Okay. I
tried to do his, because he says it a little weird.
Yeah.
That, like, it's not the way that you, because I did a lot. I actually did some homework for like Japanese stuff, because what he's saying is not he's saying right now, the way that the words are arranged.
Interesting.
Like, right now, I am Scorpion.
Huh.
He's like being very clear that like he's putting emphasis. It's because of the way that the words are flopped around in there.
Lee and I both thought it was going to be Get Over Here. I was ready for that.
Oh, I love that one, but I just like the part where he just says like, "This is who I am now." You know, like I'm not that dude. I'm gonna kill you, Sub-Zero.
A much better line and a much better delivery than "I am no longer Bihan. I am Sub-Zero." That was like
so bad.
It was like it was a level of cheese that did not need to be there.
It's like, buddy, can you please just fight somebody now? Yeah. Like, don't do that. Just fight someone. Yeah, he says it like a little differently than how I learned how to say it. Okay. So I tried really hard to do like the kind of native thing that he's doing with it, because I don't know, man. Japanese is hard.
Man, honestly, with that and with the Igor episode recently, like I've been impressed with your foreign language pronunciations of words, man. Your French and your Japanese is not horrible, man.
Well, by the end of that episode, like the French was so hard, I was just like, so did you get why I was talking to my Amazon Echo unit with a French accent before we did the episode?
Yes, I did.
did that on purpose.
Yep. It started to all come together. Yep. All right, guys. Well, we have already picked next week's episode. This is probably going to be a recurring thing for a while. I don't know how many choices we're going to end up giving each other anymore. It seems like we're trying to go with a new release, something more topical to talk about, and I've been enjoying it so far. So next week is going to be Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. We've got Michael B. Jordan starring in a Tom Clancy action movie, which I'm pretty pumped about. Do you know anything about this story at all? Like, this is a book, right? It's not like an original movie. I assume.
I have no idea. One of the guys I work with said, because he knows that I'm doing like a movie podcast now, that I like movies, so like they just kind of mentioned it to me. He just said Michael B. Jordan, Tom Clancy. I was like, okay,
yeah,
say no more. So I watched the trailer. I think that he like leaves. He's like imprisoned for something.
Oh, okay. It was a novel. It was August 1993 novel set during the Vietnam War. Okay. Huh.
So it's Without Remorse, right?
Yes. Okay. So this is apparently, I guess this is maybe the character that Michael B. Jordan is playing, but it's the origin story of John Clark, who is one of the reoccurring characters in the Ryanverse.
Oh yeah, John Clark is okay. I remember this watching the trailer. I'm pretty sure John Clark is his boss at some point.
Oh, Lee, that's interesting. See, yeah, they should have done more fleshing out like Bihan's backstory then. Yeah, I could see the issue you have with it then. I'm pumped for next week. Without Remorse, I've got good expectations, which could possibly be a bad thing. I think one of my the reasons why I liked this the most are the horrible low expectations I was going in with. If this movie, the Mortal Kombat did nothing but surpass my expectations. So I don't know going in next week if I'm expecting something really good. I hope I'm not disappointed. But
I'm just expecting a whole lot of shooting shit. That's all that I'm really anticipating. I'm not expecting amazing performances. Just lots of things getting shot at.
I am expecting. Like, I haven't seen Michael B. Jordan bad in anything yet. So I am expecting a good performance from him. I mean,
if I just see Michael B. Jordan walking around in body armor shooting shit, I'll be satisfied.
True. Yeah. I mean,
he could not have a single line. I'd be fine with it. That all came out so wrong.
We can objectify Michael B. Jordan. It's okay. It's all right, guys. That is going to bring us to the end of another episode of the Metacast Movie Show. If you are watching this on YouTube and you've enjoyed our discussion, please hit the like button, subscribe to keep up to date, and comment below and tell us how you felt about Mortal Kombat. Dun, 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 dun.
If you had a whole lot of difficulties doing that one dragon fatality for Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat 2, or if you want to further keep up to date or even join us as a guest on a future episode, please join our Discord. The link is in the description below. We will be live next week on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/TylaTV.
Thank you, everyone, for being here, and I hope you guys have a great week.